Sup, we're back with more Great Ace Attorney. Let's hit it. So, we have two options here. We can either go to the crime scene, or we can go visit the defendant. Let's go see the defendant. If the dude's shaking like a leaf, we should probably give him some solace. February 19th, local prison, cell 9. Okay, I guess we're not getting a time. I guess there's no time here. Again, you can do it in either order, so. So they're British so these are British prison cells. Prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. Too bad we aren't going to see him until attention is actually brought to his character. But it's so dark at the back door, I can't make him out. No, I can see the back wall quite clearly. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Well, that was certainly a certain way of talking. I don't know how I'm gonna... Oh boy, this is gonna be weird. Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh. The defendant's Japanese? I didn't think we'd be getting... Oh shoot, hi there. Hi. Excuse me, but who... Shh, quiet! This man looks extremely shady. Or just on edge. I can't tell which. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Are you quite right in the head, sir? Right. So, could I ask you who exactly... There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost! A ghost? We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese by any chance? Oh, his eyes just changed there. This is... beyond my wildest dreams. Forgive me for the outburst earlier. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Yet another new theme. This game just constantly puts out the good tunes. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. This dude is over the top. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strontheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? What compassion my fellow countrymen shows. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. First-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can, I will. shan't stay sullen and silent. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume. Soseki Natsume. Soseki. Well, nice to meet you. First off... Oh, right. First off, would you like to see my armband badge? My arm badge. Yes, yes, the symbol of one of the great empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me. Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you. Then why else would you show me that? Oops, in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Well, this man is extremely eccentric, and I am here for it. Soseki Natsume. Soseki. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? Nom de plume? You mean an Elias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No, don't be prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku, that really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had suffered that misery, now this. It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But... just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? They told me to study English literature. That I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language! Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable! I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. The accusation against you. Let's hear it. Could you please tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I'm gonna take that as a no by your twitchy attitude. I didn't see anybody. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. About the case? It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole accursed silhouette of another ahead of me. An accursed woman wearing a accursed green overcoat, she was. And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. Oh, there isn't even any blood. I can now see what they meant by shaking like a leaf. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. But let me guess, you were spotted? That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know of any fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. Wow, if this is a mood, I don't know what is. I have no idea what else could be more of a mood. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass by? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was no one else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? Hmm? What conundrum? Conundrum. What do you mean, Susanoo-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. You... What did you just say? Nothing. I literally didn't say anything. That was in my head. Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little too loudly. It was showing on your face. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yes, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. A cursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Oh, it's definitely him. My man is returning this case. Brash, big-headed, busybody, begone! May you be accursed until the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes! I knew it! Him again. Mr. Sholmes? Herlock Sholmes. Let's look at it. I'm glad we get to hear this theme again. It's one of my favorites. Well, I didn't expect to hear the name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some man suddenly burst in through the door. You know, I just gotta mention something. Since I just talked about Sherlock's music, Herlock, sorry. Sholmes' music. I was thinking about all the music we've heard, and you know what I just realized about last case? We didn't get to hear the turnabout theme because of the way the frickin' trial played out. I feel like I've just been had. They started shouting at me. This is the police. Put the weapon down. Yes, it was a thin, sliver, and yes, it was hard, but but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was in the middle of all the police, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herlock Sholmes? It's actually just Herlock. Oh. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I was supposed to pronounce it as Hairlock, sorry. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really well known here. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak-stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign film flammery. Oh, flimflammery. Sorry. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. I'm fine, okay. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. So he unknowingly admitted to everything they asked him. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine? He's not fine now. Listen, he's the frickin' ancestor of Apollo Justice. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright. Yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. A student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. This is a new theme as well. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. With that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from a great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. Keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness, why? Why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyways. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me, in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Mr. Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. You look like an extremely nice man. Unlike with McGilded, I feel no hostility towards you in the slightest. You are a pure man, and I will see that you are found not guilty. And I will make sure that the frickin' curse doesn't come to bite you in the butt. No matter what tries to kill you, I will get in the way. February 19th, Briar Road. This place certainly looks cool. And I'm not just saying that because it's snowed over. So this is where it happened. Briar Road. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is their job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamed I'd ever come this close. She really is a fangirl for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. To a real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. Oh, it's Gregson. It's Tobias. It's me. What's the Japanese delegation doing here? What's the... Oh, Inspector Gregson. Ba-dum, ba-da-ba-da-bam. This isn't on the tourist trail. I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the holding cells, then? What did you make of the criminal? He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion. Ah, the stone-cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone-cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Okay, let's examine some things. The snowman. You are the true culprit. What a delightful snowman. I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. Looks a little creepy, though. Oh, it has a scarf, look! You need one if you're out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. But on Tish, that first sentence. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. I mean, you could turn it inside out, couldn't you? I'm just gonna scour this with a fine-tooth comb to try to figure out everything we can examine. Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage! They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No, I wasn't serious. Please don't. Hello, sir. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. 2 times too many, in fact. Twice I've found myself in handcuffs despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. I mean, she's not wrong, but it still hurts. What's over here? Ooh. Bub up. Bub up. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built, though. Is that the Crystal Tower? Yep, had a feeling. Aha, yes, that must be the Crystal Tower. Being built for the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, placed on all sides in the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. What is it, February in game right now? That's half a year from now, so... If these games reach that far... Is that a broken... Are those windows broken there? What's with this bike? Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see what anyone would want to ride something like that. I don't know about that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not like I dislike them It's not that I dislike them exactly. It's not like I don't know how to ride them or anything. Just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. I'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Oh, brother. Nothing in here. No, it doesn't look like it. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to take its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. Oh, you're right. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonable level floors. Is that it? Looks like... Oh, wait, there's something else. What's this? Oh, look at the window of that building over there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. Yeah, that's odd. They have bricked up windows. Very, very strange. Alright, time to talk to our boy Gregson here. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, I've been fascinated by the place. The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll ever find anywhere in the world, man. Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. Well, there's two of them there, but yeah. I certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city. Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I tell you.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does. Goes around and rouses all the laborers on his beats so they can get off to work.
What, he wakes people up?
Yep. Raps on the windows with a lawn pole. Did it myself, going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the area and all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles, that's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama. On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far. I'd say it's more than a step, considering the distance, but you know what. But we'll leave it at that.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gasless street lamps.
Oh my! And I suppose in between all of those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well? And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
By keeling over, do you mean they die from overexhaustion? I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Your heavy heart will be on my heavy head if you do.
Heavy Kokoro.
About the case.
It happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago, just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital.
I never said that she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around perfectly smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means I haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's the odd policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept. The local map has been entered into the court record.
Okay. Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So, who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it?
Give me a second. Let me check this. So, Briar Road. And we have Meerschaum Street and Calabash Road. Okay. Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can't be sure that no one else was present.
I'm sorry not to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
The precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less.
Ah, yes, because the last time we had 2 very reliable witnesses, it always went well. Both in the first case and the third case. Ah.
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see him.
There were witnesses now? Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Oh boy. A policeman? That might change things. And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a Bobby. Catching them... Bobby. Catching them being in the act and all that, I'll tell you what.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask the policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you, this could make our job very difficult indeed. Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect. I heard that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The color is drained from his cheeks. Let's do this one first. Sholmes will be last.
That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you gonna defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but I will say just this. No London lawyer with a stall would touch that case with a barge pole.
Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court for a good few years now. 5 years, to be exact.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only person he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones.
Master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the woman there was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for one of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's gotta be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
Think I can tell you what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? And finally, let's talk about Sholmes.
Uh-oh, music fade out. Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Ah!
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of a crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble. Gibble gabble, gibble gabble. Ever seen this before?
Oh yes, that's Rand's magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appear.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard. Oh, the man's as dangerous to us as Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Well, I don't think we're getting any more useful information out of the detective.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. Somehow I doubt that. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even, so how— It's Baker Street!
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage!
So, we're to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. My cat's trying to murder me. Huh. A new location has been added.
Can we really visit, do you think? Oh, pinch me, I'm sure I must be dreaming.
Are you dreaming? Let us see. Wow. A nice part of town. Let us get out. I like how derpy they look because of how far away from the camera they are.
Up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Good day.
Thanks again.
What a nice coachman.
This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Huh. Very nice. Got a cutscene for that. You know it's... Whoa! February 19th, 12:53 p.m. Sholmes Suite. God damn, there's a lot of stuff here. Look at all of this. What is that, a frickin'... There's like a frickin'... There's some type of knife or sword stuck in the wall with a letter. There's papers, there's like some weird type of jester's shoe. There's tea stuff, there's like playing cards over there. There's like there's a bust on the right. There's like a hammer up above, glasses, chess pieces. Well, I guess we'll examine this all in the next episode of Great Ace Attorney. This has been a real interesting case so far. Ain't really got any theories rolling around in my head, but I'm sure they'll start piecing themselves together eventually. I guess next time we will do some stuff about the Great Detective's suite. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye until next time. Signing off. Ja, mata ne.